everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of The Coin, a Hearthstone podcast hosted by myself, Xmetric, and Lawrencejame.
What's up, guys?
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the recent Last Call tournament and also the current Hearthstone World Championship America's qualifier tournaments. Wait, hold on. We're getting breaking news. I believe, yes, it is true. We will also be talking about the Leroy Jenkins and Starving Buzzard nerfs. Okay. Sorry, that was just coming in hot off the press, as you could hear. So before we get into the talk about the tournaments, I wanted to give a huge shout out, actually, to my man, LJ. Let me make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. That way. He was recently featured on Trollden's video. We're going to post a link down below in the description. Because he also was #1 on Reddit Hearthstone for like a day and a half with some crazy searing totem nonsense. Best way to put that. But yeah, I guess getting into the last, I guess we'll first start off talking about the Last Call tournament. I think overall it was a cool idea. You know, like the whole, you get one more shot. If you hit Legend, you can really, if you didn't qualify for the World Championship already, you still have a chance to get to BlizzCon to get your name out there. And especially, I know there were a lot of people that I had never heard of. I know I had personally, never heard of Karma. Apparently somebody who is a decently, good streamer, maybe not like a Hafu or a Raynat or a Rekful or anybody like that. But a very, community liked streamer, and it was kind of cool to get to see people like that come into the spotlight. Maybe see, like she's known as the Queen of Handlock, so I think something like that where maybe it might have been a 50-50 shot if people were going to go with Handlock. To see people bring out maybe, their special decks and whatnot.
Yeah, she was, I mean, it's good that people like her were able to stream the tournament too, because I know they had a lot of trouble, because it's a bunch of people just randomly playing, so if you're streaming it, then that's very nice of them to allow the viewers to watch and allow Froden and Amaz to commentate the Last Call tournament. So that was really nice of them. That was nice of her as well.
Yeah, and especially I think it was cool. And I liked the fact that I agree that some of the times that when both people were able to stream, it allowed for you to really, play off of, okay, what each person has. But then also when the people couldn't stream or if there were technical difficulties, I still found it enjoyable. Because, you hear the commentators and you get to hear their own mindset about what you need to watch out for because it was blind to them as well. A lot of the times it's easy for the commentators to be like, oh, that's you definitely can't play that here because that he's got like the execute in hand. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, if you're playing, you might not, you might not have another option or you might not see it that way. So I found that interesting. The only problem I did have with the Last Call tournament was I'm trying to think of the right word for it. I guess one of the qualifications to get in, to be able to play in the tournament. I think with the fact that you had to have the Legend card back, while I agree that you want a certain level of competitive play in the tournament, I didn't get to see too much of it at the later stages, but from the bit that I had watched, even up to like the round of, I think the math would be 156. I'm not sure, whatever, like in the 150s area, there were still people getting disqualified for not having the card back. And I think it's a real blemish on the serious nature of the game. If I had never come into Hearthstone before and I'm just like, wow, what's this game on Twitch that's in the top 4? And you click that and the first stream is a real tournament, like you see 22,000 people watching it and you click in and you see people getting disqualified. I would really be skeptical of the serious nature of the game. I would feel like it was still kind of a joke, or that this wasn't something that was supposed to be put on for the World Championships of a game.
Yeah, well, that was for the Last Call. Of course, that wasn't the Blizzard run one, and I think that's the biggest difference there is the fact that this tournament was run community. It's community made, so there's going to be there's less tools available to these providers of the tournament than a big company like Blizzard. And so you're going to be able to maybe fake that you had a Legend back, take a picture of a friend's Legend back card, and then play in the tournament yourself. And anyone can win in a card game. So it doesn't matter if you haven't hit Legend. You still may have a good chance as anyone else as getting to the top rankings. Maybe not as good of a chance, obviously, but you still have a chance. You can still win with any deck, and so that's kind of why you saw that. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully they were able to catch everyone that did get a seat in the Hearthstone World Championship America's qualifier. Hopefully, I'm almost 100% sure that they definitely squiggled out there. But yeah, it does suck that they eliminated probably some people that should have been there in the first place.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess going in, you just touched on the Hearthstone World Championship America's qualifier. I know that's going on live right now. Well, not right now, but during the time frame that we're filming this. And so, have you seen anything interesting, or just
in the tournament itself? I find it interesting. I mean, Hunter's being banned every single time, which shouldn't be a surprise. And then the times that you aren't noticing the Hunter banned, you're seeing a start of Control Warrior, and that's to counter that Hunter matchup. And then that's kind of playing in the mindset of the other person. The other person may hold back on their Hunter deck, and they're playing something else. So you're seeing a lot of that going on in the tournament itself. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting matchups you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of Druid, a lot of the Kalento or Strifeco Druid. You're seeing a lot of that. So.
Yeah, almost we should just start calling it the Cloud9 Druid. I know last night watching Hafu come back from down 1-0 to 3-1 Chimera, that was interesting, and I think that's exactly what you were just talking about, with some people leading with their Control Warrior deck. When that game went down to fatigue, Hafu versus Chimera. Then when Hafu goes into, game 2 and she brings out her Druid deck, a deck that she's pretty well known for, she feels very comfortable with the Druid class.
Yeah.
Knowing that he wasn't running Ysera, that he wasn't, some of the other cards that he wasn't running, and that he was running something like Black Knight. I think it makes some of your, maybe your Sludge Belcher plays or something like that a little bit different, because I know that was what was interesting in that first match, is they didn't know what the last two cards of Chimera was. They knew it was like Garrosh, but I don't think anybody predicted that it was going to be a Black Knight. And so when it was on Hafu's side, it was Garrosh, and then she played Sludge Belcher, and she probably would have had the game had it been anything but Black Knight, or at least it would have been a lot closer. I know Chimera, I think I had over 25 armor at that point. So I think it was just interesting. But yeah, definitely what you were talking about. A lot of Druid, especially coming out from the Cloud9 team. They're pretty much not pioneering Druid, but they're making sure it's known. Yeah, I mean I guess Strifecro is really pioneering it. But
yeah, he's kind of the first one to he innovates Druid like really well. I remember back in the day he came out with the first double Force Nature Savage Roar Druid. He was really well known for that deck, throwing Druid of the Claw and Charger and just going really ham. So he really made that deck viable. He also came out with this one. Kalento has said before that he was the one that came up with the newest build with Ooze and Shade and Axaramus and the cards of the like. So he's really innovated that class, and I'm very appreciative of him because I love the Druid class myself. So it's very cool that he can make it so competitive.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think the other thing that I'm hoping was getting better with the tournament being run itself, I noticed it after the Hafu Chimera match, was that it looked like it was only going to take about 5 or 6 minutes for them to get into the next match. Whereas I know earlier in the day they were having over-hour delays. And
2 hours.
2 hour, yeah. Hour to 2 hour. Most of the time it was like 2 hour delays. And I think that's only going to really hurt Hearthstone as an esport. I think if you're trying to view the game, and you have such a long period of time where you can't just continually watch the game like you would a football game or even League of Legends. Once they get into it, yeah, you have the little breaks, but overall it's just action on top of action. I think that's something that they're going to have to figure out. If they're going to run the tournaments via, like online, if they're not going to make it where all the participants have to be there for a LAN event, like they will with BlizzCon or something, then they need to figure out, okay, what's a reasonable delay that we can set to prevent cheating, and to make sure that, we won't have technical difficulties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this tournament format is kind of just kind of thrown out there for right now, but there's so many people. There's no set streamers that are, so it's all like it's all behind the scenes, people running around trying, okay, we can get this streamer up, we can have this game up, we can put this on camera, it's delayed, it's corrected. So there's a lot of behind the scene efforts going on. And again, like it goes back to what we were talking about where the community is really making these tournaments and you're not seeing the big companies get involved. And so you're going to have issues like this. So we should cut them a break for sure. Yeah, we should go easy on them. I mean, it's great that they're doing these tournaments because they're promoting Blizzard's game, you know, so
yeah, as long as we've still got the tournaments, you know, it's better than being able to say, oh, unfortunately, we can't have a world championship because Blizzard cannot help us out.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know, it's something like we were reading before. I have got a tweet here from, you know, Savages saying that, you know, that he had a 2-hour delay, you know, and when he's playing in an NA qualifier instead of an EU, you know, he has losses in like round 2, you know, due to sleep and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, it's not only affecting the viewers; it's actually affecting the players. But again, I'm trying to go easy on it because it was very disappointing. I was all ready to go. Had my soda. I was all ready to go. But 2 hours
feet up on the couch, a little bit of popcorn. You know.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, right? You know, you invite your buddies over. You got 10 people over already, and then 2 hours later, it got delayed. Which
you had 10 friends. All right. Anyways, moving off of that topic, that's a sore topic. No, I'm just kidding. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the breaking news that kind of happened. What was it now? 2 nights ago?
No,
last night. Last night. See, look at that. It feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah,
but
it does.
Leroy Jenkins going up to 5 mana, and then what was it? Starving Buzzard went to what, 5 mana as well? It's a 5 mana 3/2.
Yep.
Believe that. It's. What do you think, LJ? We'll just cut the cheese. What do you think?
So I think it's really interesting. I thought they were going to nerf the Hunter class, but I didn't really think they were going to do it this way. I thought
Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people thought that. I've heard you say that before, and I've actually this week I've heard a lot of people talking about Hunter's Mark being nerfed, and that would make a big difference because then suddenly Taunters become a big issue for Hunter. They probably have to run Owl, and it would totally change how Hunter is played. But this change with Starving Buzzard completely kills the combo, 100%. You are never going to see an 8-mana Starving Buzzard Unleashed Hounds. I don't care that last time Unleashed Hounds got up to 4 mana and then you never saw it played. And then we saw it played again. Like, that is not going to happen with this. It is never coming back unless they revert this nerf somehow. I think you absolutely killed Starving Buzzard and Unleashed Hounds. You might as well just remove Starving Buzzard from the game because it's just completely unplayable.
I mean, you think about just even the stat line of 5 mana 3/2, like
it's not good.
That's horrible. Like it won't. I don't know.
I mean, you gotta look at the same reason why like Kidnapper's unplayed, which is a 5/3, I believe, and for 6 mana, and the road
sounds right.
Road class card. And look, it's just not played, and it's kind of the same thing as Starving Buzzard because the stats are just not worth the synergy for such a late game card like that. That totally killed it. I really think Hunter as a class is just going to die from this because they really... Did you sneeze?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But so Hunter will it's just gonna die out. It's gonna be completely really sad. The only thing you may see is Rush Hunter come back. Once you see Handlock come back into the picture, once you see a lot of control decks outside of Control Warrior, you're going to see Rush Hunter come back, I think, with like Wolf Rider, Arcane Golem, that kind of the older style of Hunter that doesn't rely on traps. That Hunter will probably come back. That's not going to rely on the Buzzard combo.
So what do you think then this does for Priest? I mean, I think this shoots Priest already, which was arguably the best class right now post Nax. I think it shoots it into an almost undisputable #1. I mean, not that the meta right now to me is very 1, 2, 3. You know, I definitely, you know, you can have Druid beating Priest and you can have Priest beating Druid, but I think when you knock out Hunter now, I think going into tournaments, because I think when did they say it's going to go into effect? The 22nd?
Yeah, 22nd.
The 22nd of September. I think after that you're going to see a lot more Priest bans. Personally, because I know as strong as Druid is for me, I think we saw that in a few matches with these past tournaments that if you're playing like an aggro Druid, or even by aggro Druid I mean like token Druid, you know, if they don't get that early start, if they don't have anything to drop out early, or if they don't get those innervates, I think something like, Control Warrior can easily armor up way too quickly, and it'll start to put the game out of reach. Whereas something with Priest, they're lucky. With Nax, it was only supposed to help their early game. So I don't know, personally, that's what I'm going to be looking to ban more so is Priest.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because what's funny is the reason why Priest is so popular now, the Death Rattle Priest I'm more talking about, the one that's really dominating the ladder right now, because you're not really seeing much of the old Pyromancer, Priest, which may actually come back. But the reason that you're seeing Undertaker Priest and Death Rattle Priest is because Hunter became so popular, and this was like one of the biggest counters to them outside of Control Warrior. And so it's interesting, because now that Hunter will be gone, you may see a return of Miracle Rogue. And even though Leroy Jenkins is now not going to be a factor, and I'm sure we'll talk about that pretty soon in Miracle is still going to be played. It's going to be played more than it is right now. And Priest is really bad against that, and it's not great against Handlock either. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how this ends up working out. But I would not be surprised if Priest ends up dying out a little bit more.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't. I don't know. I feel it's a class that's always had potential, but it didn't have the early game, and a lot of other, what was popular before that? It was, if you didn't have the removal by the time that Rogue could get out their gadgets in, if you didn't maybe have 1 or 2 minions on board, or because you think about it's a 4/4, so unless they had Alkanai Circle, or you had I don't even know what, you already had maybe an injured Blade Master on board, or you were able to thought steal some type of removal. I feel like by the time Miracle Rogue got the fuel going, it was out of control.
Yeah, I still think Death Rattle Priest will be the one played. You may, it just depends on the matchup, because that is not horrible against Miracle. It's still bad. Like, it's still probably a 30% chance to win for the Priest, 70 for the Rogue.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting how the meta ends up coming back. I think you'll see a lot more Druid. Druid is just always steady when the meta shifts to slower.
Yeah.
Because Druid has the ability to go slow if they need to, if they don't draw well in the beginning, and they also have an ability to ramp up into some of the Force Nature Savage Warrior combos that can just end the game. So they have the ability to play both styles, and that works really well in this type of a meta.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And so then, like you mentioned, also besides Starving Buzzard, Leroy, even though it's 1 mana, I think it's something. I don't know. I think it's gonna significantly hurt the card. Not that people are just gonna drop it. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be like a Nat Pagal type of exodus from the card.
Right.
But I think it was normally a pretty strong. Not that you'd really ever play it turn 4, but the combos that it had in Miracle Rogue. Just being able to shadow step that Leroy, and it being so cheap. It's gonna be a little bit more expensive now. And a lot of the combos, I think they would be able to use their mana perfect. And
exactly.
Unless they had preparations, which everything's free.
Yeah, there's a lot of combos that they killed with this, like Handlock, Power Overwhelming on Leroy, then Faceless, that's gone now. Miracle no longer going to be Shadow Step. So I think the Leroy Jenkins, first when they saw this, they saw it with Buzzard, and they're like, okay, this is just a straight nerf to Hunter. It's going to be a straight nerf to Hunter. But that's wrong. It's Leroy Jenkins is really a nerf to Miracle and Power Overwhelming Faceless. So Handlock as well. I just find it really interesting that they decided to nerf it now. It's so strange to me, because they really made a big deal about Miracle being a problem in the last patch, and they wanted to see how Naxxramas would kind of affect it, and effectively it killed Miracle. It didn't kill Miracle.
No, but Lotheb single-handedly hurts the deck, and I think I saw that last night in the Hafu Chimera match. He had a pretty solid hand. He only needed he would have had lethal if he had been able to put a little bit more damage, because he had Leroy, I think maybe double Shadow Step, he had a preparation, he had Eviscerate, and all that. And Hafu was just able to play a Lotheb, and it's like, well, this is maybe just a Leroy turn, if that. It significantly can shut down the deck and stall it. So I agree with that.
Yeah, and cards like Haunted Creeper, Ooze, the Harvest Golem, all those cards that performed pretty well against Miracle already. So just the additions of some of the Naxxramas cards, besides Lotheb, have made it much harder for Miracle. So it's interesting that they nerfed it, and especially since we don't see Miracle and Handlock really viable on the ladder right now. You're not really seeing those decks on the ladder, so I thought that was weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. I don't know if they'll like immediately revert it, especially because it was only 1 mana. You know, I think with Blizzard they would end up just hoping people are gonna, change their deck style, figure out a new way to use it. Kind of like what happened with Unleashed Hounds. They didn't just go, oh, well, you guys really didn't like that. Okay, we'll just put it back. We'll put it, sorry, hate, don't mean to, ruin the party. I think with the 1 mana, I think it's going to be stuck there for a while. But I think single-handedly, just the Starving Buzzard would have done what they needed to for Hunter. And then we'll see what type of effect, that Leroy has on the rest of the decks.
Yeah, you may actually see Leroy like still playing in like I don't want to. This is kind of bold statement, but I want to say that Aggro Paladin is actually going to come back, and I'm really like trying to work on a build for that. So maybe that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But Leroy is going to be a card it's going to turn unexpected because you're not going to see it played in very popular decks. You may not see it played in Handlock. You may not see it played. I mean, maybe in Handlock you'll still play it, but you're not going to see it in Miracle. You're not going to see it in a lot of decks that have just kind of thrown it in as a finisher.
Yeah.
Like such as like Aggro Warlock. Sometimes you see Leroy. You're not going to see it anymore. But so. It'll be interesting to see like what kind of decks can actually get use out of it, and I think it's going to be decks that can surprise your opponent when you throw it out there. And something like Aggro Paladin would do that very perfectly, in my opinion. Good
point. Well, we'll have to see. So there we go. We have it, folks. In before Aggro Paladin, new meta. You heard it here first on the coin from LJ. But I think that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in again to the coin. Please make sure you leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed what you see. Enjoyed what you saw, and let me keep my tenses going in the right direction. And please, again, leave any comments for us, for the show. We'll be happy to respond. And always, make sure you like both of us on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. All our info is down below. Any closing statements from you, LJ?
No, I think we got it, man. Perfect.
All right, just Aggro Paladin for the win. But thank you, guys, and we'll see you in next episode of The Coin.
Thanks, guys.
If I found a way to be happy every day, if you could just see my face, y'all would see